Today is August 28, 2025, and the headlines are grim. Kyiv has suffered its deadliest strike since the Trump-Putin Alaska summit. At least 18 people are confirmed dead, including 4 children. Homes, schools, and even diplomatic offices were not spared. This comes just days after intense diplomacy between Trump, Putin, and Ukraine, raising one critical question: is the window for peace closing, or was it never open at all? The strike on Kyiv. Last night, Russia launched a massive wave of drones and missiles on Ukraine's capital. The onslaught struck residential neighbourhoods, power grids, and symbolic targets including the EU delegation offices and the British Council. The attack was described by Ukrainian officials as the heaviest single strike on Kyiv in months. Sirens wailed for hours as civilians sheltered underground. Emergency services continue to dig through rubble, searching for survivors. President Zelensky spoke this morning saying, "While Moscow talks about peace, it rains missiles on children. This is Russia's truth." Global reaction. The international community reacted swiftly. In London, the British government summoned Russia's top diplomat, condemning what it called a deliberate act of terror. The European Union, shaken by the strike on its own offices, pledged new rounds of sanctions targeting Russian oil and gas revenues. Meanwhile, EU leaders confirmed they will redirect frozen Russian assets, valued at billions, toward military and humanitarian aid for Ukraine. But Moscow shows no signs of backing down. Instead, Kremlin officials claimed the strikes were aimed at military infrastructure, despite clear evidence of civilian devastation. Trump's peace efforts in turmoil. At the same time, diplomacy is faltering. Just days ago, Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff met Putin, exploring what some reports described as a potential land swap deal, Ukraine trading territory for peace. Reuters later revealed those claims were exaggerated, if not outright false. The mixed signals created chaos. Ukrainian officials rejected any deal that involved giving up territory, and Western allies accused the U.S. of negotiating in secrecy. Critics argue Trump's approach risks rewarding aggression while undermining Ukraine's sovereignty. Supporters, however, claim he is the only leader bold enough to put all options on the table. What's really at stake? So what's really happening here? On one hand, Trump is warning Putin of an economic war if peace talks collapse. On the other, Putin continues to escalate militarily while dangling vague promises of negotiation. For Ukraine, the stakes could not be higher. Every strike weakens infrastructure, displaces more families, and tests the resilience of a nation already exhausted by war. For Europe, the fear is spillover. Strikes on EU and UK-linked offices have raised alarms about Russia deliberately testing Western red lines. And for the United States, Trump's credibility as a peace broker is under pressure like never before. Possible next steps. Looking ahead, 2 scenarios are emerging. 1. The US and EU double down. Sanctions, weapons, and diplomatic isolation for Russia. 2. Or fragile talks continue, with Trump pressing Putin while preparing for a high-stakes meeting with President Zelensky in Washington. Both paths carry risks. Escalation could drag NATO deeper into confrontation. Diplomacy, meanwhile, risks crumbling if Russia keeps striking civilians during negotiations. So here's where we stand on August 28, 2025. Kyiv is reeling from its deadliest assault since the Alaska summit. Diplomacy is unraveling, and the world is watching to see if peace talks can survive another day. What do you think? Is Putin deliberately sabotaging diplomacy, or is this the last desperate stage before a real negotiation begins? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget, subscribe for daily updates on the Trump-Putin talks, Ukraine's fight for survival, and the shifting world order.